Hi, this is Frank Buba, the Warren G. Harding High School boys basketball coach, and you're listening to Valley Sports Line on AM 1440.
And welcome back here to Valley Sports Line as we continue talking about the Browns and the rumors coming out of Cleveland that head coach Chris Palmer is into his last week as the head coach of the Browns, as there's rumors that he will be fired at the end of the season. And if that is so, do you agree with the firing, or do you believe it is unjust? And if you do agree with the firing, who do you want to see replace Chris Palmer as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns? Let's go right back to the phone lines. Hi, you're on the air.
Tim.
Yes.
Didn't mean to call back.
That's all right. Go ahead.
Question. If we get rid of Palmer, won't we be back at the square one again? You're going to hear, here's what you're going to hear. They're going to come in with a new guy, and he's going to change the offense. He's going to change the defense. They're still going to be the same team, okay? You're going to hear the excuses, well, it's a new offense. Wait till next year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So just leave the guy there. Let him run his offense with some talent, and you'll be fine.
See, I think what we're running into here is the Carmen policy, Dwight Clark influence of the 49ers in the West Coast offense, which we're not running. We're not even a variation of. What we're running, or what the Browns, I should say, are running, is the Chris Palmer offense that he ran in New England and what he ran in Jacksonville.
Where they were successful.
Exactly. But again, and I think what we're having here is because the Browns' lack of success in the last, let's say, 8 to 10 games offensively, since Tim Couch has gone out, and even maybe the last couple of games before he went out with the injury, the situation I think the Browns are looking at, or that front office is looking at, is saying, this offense isn't going to work. We need to go hire our own guy that runs the offense that I can put players in that I know will work. And I think that's what we got going on here with Dwight Clark, is that he wants someone like a Gary Kubiak who runs a offense of the West Coast offense with Shanahan. And what Shanahan ran when he was the offensive coordinator with the 49ers.
I'm not sold on Gary Kubiak.
Neither am I, but I think that's what the direction the Browns are looking at. I think what they're saying is, we're not going to win under this situation with Chris Palmer, which I disagree with. I just don't think he has any talent to run a complete offense that they want. And I believe their thinking could very well lie into the point, this is what we know, this is what we wanted to do originally. We couldn't get that coach, so we went with this coach. It's not working. Let's go back to our original thought and bring someone in to run the West Coast offense, which originally what the Carmen policy and Dwight Clark were saying the moment they took over the Browns and got the franchise is that we're going to get a coach with the experience of running the offense on the West Coast that we know and that we like to run, and we believe we've been very successful in the past with the 49ers, and we can bring that here to Cleveland. That's what we were hearing from day one from Carmen policy and Dwight Clark. Now, that's not what they hired. They hired Chris Palmer, who came from a different philosophy of an offense, and it hasn't worked the last 2 years with no talent. So I think what they're going to do is use that as an excuse to go find themselves the type of head coach like a Steve Mariucci was when they hired him in San Francisco to run the West Coast offense.
I agree, but they're also going to have one problem, which is, they're going to get a reputation of, okay, let's say they bring in Kubiak. 2 years from now, he's got the same problem. You're going to fire him? Now you're going to have 2 coaches in 4 years. People want to know that they're going to go somewhere and stay.
Oh, I agree. I think you have a perception problem with the other players in the league if you keep changing coaches, especially changing a coach after 2 years. This is not like Carolina when they let go of Don Capers when they were bringing in a Super Bowl winning coach like Seifert. This is not the same situation. Carolina was in the playoffs and fell back, and they fired Don Capers and brought in George Seifert. And right. George Seifert has yet to set the world on fire in Carolina.
Exactly. Because why? He doesn't have the talent.
Exactly.
Welcome to another exciting broadcast of high school basketball here on WASN 1330 and WRRO 1440. It's a very competitive season between these great rivalries, so keep your dial right here at AM 1330 and 1440, where you'll be hearing your favorite high school basketball teams all season long, including the playoffs. Now, let's take you to our play-by-play announcer, the sports voice of the Mahoning Valley, Larry Miklas.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Warren Harding, where the Raiders will host the Ursuline Irish in a Steel Valley Conference matchup. This is Larry Miklas with Tim Continenza, and we are pleased to have you with us tonight on AM 1440. The Irish coming in at 2-10. Frank Buba and the Warren Harding Raiders coming in at 11-2. The Irish 1-2 in the conference. They beat Cardinal Mooney, and they were beaten by Boardman and Fitch. Harding with the 3-0 mark in the conference. They beat Mooney, they beat Boardman and Fitch. And the impressive run about this Harding team, Timmy, coming down this last week, they beat Boardman, Fitch, and Canton McKinley to go 3-0 in that particular week. 11-2, 0-0, 3-0 in the conference.
Yeah, you know, that was a tough stretch there for Coach Buba and his coaching staff and players. You know, they had those 3 games in an 8-day span starting a week ago Friday on the 12th, and they just really ran the course well and took the challenge. And they usually play a Friday-Saturday schedule, and they had the Tuesday matchup on the road against a very good Austintown Fitch team in the Steel Valley, and were able to handle that one, get the win. So tonight's a big game. They've had a whole week to prepare, and it's a tough week after coming off 3 games. And obviously, Ursuline, you say they're 2-10, they should not be a big problem. Well, it's a Steel Valley matchup, and you know that much as anybody else. You can always throw out the records when you have rival teams playing.
And head coach Steve Leslie of the Irish, speaking with him earlier, not down on this team, but knows he needs this team to play quite well tonight at this 1-2 in the conference. And they have an opportunity to, out of conference games and in conference games, to get ready for tournament play. They will be playing in Division III, and with their outstanding conference and non-conference schedule, he knows these young kids. Now, he only has 1 senior on this team, and he scratched tonight because of the flu. Warren G. Harding and the Ursuline Irish, and the Irish will go this way. At the guard will be Mark Palermo, a 5'10 junior. At the second guard, Jimmy Riley, the 6'2 junior. When you look at this roster, it's all underclassmen, only 1 senior, and that's Steven Stroney, and he's out tonight with the flu. The forwards tonight will be Andre Edmonds, 6'2 junior, and Terrence Graves, he's a 6'2 sophomore. And posting up at the center will be Louis Irizarry, the 6'5 sophomore, and the Raiders counter this way at the point guard. Michael Phillips, the 6-foot sophomore, and the wingman tonight will be Prescott Burgess at 6'4". He's a sophomore, along with Danny Stella at the 6-foot sophomore, and Devon Franklin and Ethan Banks. So for check it, Burgess is posting up along with Devon Franklin and Ethan Banks out on the wing. And we are just about to get started here at Harding. The Irish come in on some losing streaks at 2-10, 1-2. And the Irish have the basketball with Riley out on the right wing to Palermo, who holds it, and Phillips will guard him just on her way from Harding tonight. On the right side of Riley, he holds, looks for someone inside. Now back to Graves. And Terrence with the left hand puts it on the floor, trying to get it inside, and good defense employed over there on the left side by the Raiders. And the Raiders really with a good run, beating Fitch, Boardman, Canton, McKinley, and 3-0 in the conference. Irish with the basketball, 7:38 on a moving clock in the first quarter, and Riley holds it at the point, flips to Graves up the right side. And the Raiders playing in man defense right now. If this is Riley, he'll take the 3 long, and Prescott comes down with a rebound. Here comes Phillips to the forecourt. Over the left side, shot put up by Franklin. Off the rim, didn't go. Phillips rebound, now an 8-footer turnaround, got it. And the sophomore makes the Irish pay for it off his rebound, and Palermo has it across the timeline, and Phillips picks his pocket. Lost it, got it back, and Palermo had it, and he's pushed out of bounds. And the first foul will be called on Michael Phillips, and the first team foul on the Raiders. And they will put pressure on in the backcourt. Graves will inbound. Terrence Graves, 6'2 sophomore, comes to Riley, and Jimmy Riley with the left hand pushes it through the center circle. Left side, Palermo puts it on the floor around Phillips, and Phillips gave him another how do you do in the paint, so he picks up his second. And second team foul on the Raiders. And they will say that Palermo was in the act of shooting. And he hangs around line left, 6:53 to play, 2-0. Raiders have the lead, and the first one is up and in there. And Mark will look for the back in. The Irish tonight, of course, with the green tops on. The Raiders in the home white. Raiders 3-0 in the Steel Valley Conference. Palermo spins it, hits the rim, and makes good of it. And it's a 2-2 basketball game. The Raiders have it forecourt. Inside, Prescott Burgess takes the shot, didn't go. Rebound Stella. Danny Stella inside the Burgess. And he lost it, got it back, tried to put it up off the glass, got the comebacker and nailed it. He works real hard, and we heard Coach Buba talk about him with the interview with Tim Continenza earlier. Palermo to the forecourt. Palermo stops, pops the Graves right of the lane, foul line extended, gave it back to Irizarry into the lane, and he's traveling with the basketball. So good defense, collapsing down in the paint. And the Irish turn it over a couple of times here in the first quarter. And a 4-2 basketball game. Raiders with a lead.